Assalamu alaikum. Today I have a very special and surprising story for you. This is the story of a young woman named Courtney. Her life was very difficult. She was born deaf and lost her father when she was only 4. She did not grow up with one family. Instead, she lived in many different foster homes and was raised by different people. When she was a teenager, she went through very hard and painful things, including being hurt by bad people. Courtney grew up around Lebanese Muslim culture. When she was only 16 years old, she accepted Islam for the very first time. She became known as a Muslim girl, but later, some bad people came into her life and her life became very hard again. Because of this, she slowly moved away from Islam. But her story does not end here. For 2 years, she quietly read the Quran, went to the mosque, and felt a lot of pain inside her heart. After all that, she found her way back to Islam again. Now, let's listen to her story in her own words.
This is my story. My name is Courtney. First of all, greetings to everyone watching, and I want to make a formal announcement at the beginning of this video. I have officially returned to Islam and I am now a Muslim once again. I had first accepted Islam when I was 16 years old, and then I left it. May Allah forgive me. So let me start from the beginning and tell you how and why all of this happened. Even though my life has had many ups and downs, and I have seen so many terrible situations in my life that a whole novel could be written about my life story, I am not going to make a long, drawn-out video today. I'm going to keep my story brief. I was born deaf. Until I was 6 years old, I did not speak a single word. And when I was 4 years old, my father left us and suddenly disappeared. He just vanished like that, left us. No one ever found out where he went or what happened to him. After that, the nature of the hardships I faced completely changed. The wound from the sexual abuse I endured as a child at the hands of my mother's boyfriend was so deep that it stayed with me my entire life. It was a trauma that embedded itself inside me and still haunts me to this day with nightmares. When I was 12 years old, I filed a complaint with the police against my mother's boyfriend, and that's when things got even worse. First, the government separated me from my mother because she had failed to protect her own daughter. I was taken from my mother and placed into government custody. After that, my life basically became a revolving door of foster homes. I was moved through more than 100, yes, more than 100 different foster homes. A few days here, a few months there. There was no one who felt like my own, no place that felt like home. And when I was just 14 years old, the worst injustice was done to me. I fell into the hands of a bad man who sold me to a brothel. Yes, child trafficking. An innocent 14-year-old girl was pushed into a place from which it is hard to return. But my Allah protected me, and I was rescued from that place shortly after. But amidst all these hardships, there was one thing that had taken root in my heart. During the times I was staying in those short-term foster homes, I was raised for a period within a Lebanese Muslim family. I was immersed in that culture. Besides that, from childhood, I had always been in and out of Muslim homes. I would see how they prayed, how they lived, and I had developed a very strong interest in the religion of Islam. I had a great passion for learning about Islam, a lot of curiosity. So when I turned 16, I accepted Islam. Man, such a huge decision at the age of 16. And this decision became so famous, you wouldn't believe it. I went to a sheikh and I recited my Shahada. It was a night during Ramadan at the mosque in Lakemba, out in West Sydney, and in front of me were thousands and thousands of Muslims present. And not just once, but later, during Eid in Sydney, with the same sheikh, the same scene played out. I recited my Shahada in front of thousands of Muslims. And just like that, I became a famous Muslim girl. People would see me, they would praise me, and they would love me. Several websites and many newspapers published articles about me, and I became quite famous. But at 16 years old, that much fame, that much attention, it all started to feel like too much for me. People expected me to be amazing. They wanted me to be perfect in every way at all times because everyone was watching me. But at that time, I didn't care about that because Islam was my life. It was my faith. I believed it with all my heart.
Dear viewers, before we continue with the story, I have a quick little request for you. If this story is touching your heart, and if you enjoy listening to inspiring, real-life journeys like this one, then please take a moment to subscribe to the channel. That's the way you would not miss any of the upcoming stories, and they will reach you as soon as they are uploaded. And also, don't forget to like this video and drop a comment below telling us which city you are watching from. We truly love hearing from you. Jazakumullah khair.
Then, when I turned 17, something happened that changed the direction of my life. Someone did something to me, and I had to report it to the police. That police officer, the one who had known me since I was 14 years old, the one who had rescued me from the brothel when I was 14, he was the one in front of me. He was familiar with my story. He knew what kind of circumstances I had been through. That officer found out I was Muslim, and then what he said poisoned my mind. He said, "I don't want to see you as a Muslim girl. You're not that type of person." And just like that, he started staring at me right there in the police station, sexually abused me in the name of love, and planted thoughts in my head like, these Muslim families don't love you. They don't care about you. Even though that was the family that had given me love, that had taken me in as their own, they meant everything to me. But I was 17, inexperienced, and I trusted that police officer because I didn't have anyone of my own in my life. I didn't have a family. I had been raised in more than 100 foster homes. No one had ever given me true love, so I believed him, and that belief drove me away from Islam. I left Islam, but in reality, I had fallen for that police officer's manipulation. He had deceived me, taken away from me the thing that was most precious to me, that is, my faith, and separated me from that Muslim family who loved me. For several years after that, I just pretended. I pretended that I didn't believe in Islam. I pretended that Islam wasn't part of my life. I tried to push Islam away from me. But deep down inside, something was different. During that time, I never set foot in a church, never picked up a Bible. I was just busy trying to please others, trying to live up to their expectations, but I never made myself happy. Then my best friend came into my life. She was a born Muslim. Our friendship lasted for several years, and she would always talk about Islam, and I would always listen with interest. One day, that friend said, "Courtney, I'm surprised you're not Muslim. So many of your values are Islamic." That's when I told her that I had once been Muslim, and I shared my whole story with her. And then I noticed something about myself. Whenever anyone talked about Christianity and the Bible, I had no interest in listening at all. But on the other hand, whenever anyone talked about the Quran and Allah, I would sit down, ask questions, and listen with my full heart. I felt that this wasn't just a random thing. And then I made a decision, but this time I made it after a lot of thought. This decision didn't happen overnight. I thought about it for 2 years. For 2 years, I secretly read the Quran, studied Islam. I would go to the mosque, but no one knew. This time, I wanted to be completely sure that this was right for me and that I would never leave Islam again, because this time I needed to examine myself, to test my own will. And after 2 years, I announced it. I have officially returned to Islam, and this time I'm happier than before. This time it's not to please anyone, not to live up to anyone's expectations. It's for myself, for my own happiness, for the thing that gives me peace. I made a promise to myself that now I won't listen to anyone. I'll just do what feels right to me, what brings peace to my heart. This time, when I accepted Islam, my brother also supported me. During Ramadan, when I went to the hospital to visit my sick brother, he offered me food, and I told him I was fasting. My brother asked, "Oh, so it's Ramadan?" I got nervous, worried that my brother might have a problem with it, but my brother said, "You look very happy as a Muslim girl. You're thriving in Islam, so do whatever makes you happy. Don't worry about anyone else. When you were Christian, you were never happy. I never saw you reading the Bible, but you always embrace Islam. This is you. This is your life." Hearing that made my heart so happy. And now I say, I am not a perfect Muslim, and I don't want to pretend to be perfect. I am who I am. My heart is pure. I want to spread kindness and humanity. I'm not changing my personality. Only my beliefs are changing. My faith is changing. I say, I don't smoke, I don't drink alcohol, I don't go to parties, I don't talk to boys, I don't sleep around. I love these values of Islam, humanity, modesty, and everything that Islam teaches. And finally, I say, I know that after this video, I might get a lot of hate and also a lot of love, but I'm not doing this to please anyone, not for any man. There's no man in my life. I'm doing this for myself because I love myself and I love Islam. And yes, if I don't pronounce any word correctly, I apologize because I was born deaf, and some words are hard for me to articulate, but still, I am happy and I give thanks. Alhamdulillah.